Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Juicy, and we got Juicy's brother Caleb joining us here, jumping in here to the Fishbowl. How you doing today, fellas?
Oh, good, man.
Great, Chief. Great. Another day in paradise.
Yep, that's always a good way to say it here. So we're going to talk about LSU and Clemson. That's the big matchup happening in the fake Death Valley. Uh,
The Death Valley
uh,
matchup, yes.
But Clemson does return a lot of production from last season. Juicy, what you think about that stat whenever you looked at it during the off season coming into this first game?
Well, I mean, return a lot of production, sure but Clemson didn't make the playoffs if I remember last year, right? Or did they? I
Yes,
can't.
they did. They were
They
like
did
the
refresh my
number
memory.
12 or number were they the number 12, I think? Or the number 10, something like that.
Can't seem to recall what they were, but I mean, it does help to have a lot of production come back. I mean, they can only you would think Dabo Sweeney's gonna not stay down. I know he finally started hitting the transfer portal more, even though he was against it. So I know that's helped him a lot. Honestly, I think though that they'll give. I mean, I think it'd be a tough matchup for LSU being on the road, have a lot of returning starters, but we'll talk more about that in depth. But I think it's gonna help them a lot this year for sure.
Caleb, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, right out okay. So Clemson did hit the Juicy's correct. Clemson did hit the transfer portal more than they have in the past few seasons. Dabo's kind of embraced that. Clemson, supposedly, from what I've been hearing, this is their best defense that they've had since their their last national championship season. They have a very deep defensive line, and they also have a lot of returning production on offense with Cade Klubnik, obviously. But so, like Juicy said, we'll talk more about this in depth later. But I mean, it's definitely LSU's. This is basically their Super Bowl. This is could potentially make or break their season.
So I think it is interesting if y'all recall earlier this week, the College Football Playoff Committee said that they're going to put more emphasis on strength of schedule over strength of record. That was one of the criteria that was more in line of what they were talking about. And then the SEC, about 2 days later, goes to a 9 game schedule. Do y'all see other conferences jumping into that way, like the ACC, Big 12? What you think,
Well,
Juicy?
they almost have to at this point, especially like the Big 12 and then well the Pac I would say the Pac-12, but that's not going to be uh
Not till next
that's
year.
not yeah. But the SEC is doing that obviously to help their strength of schedule out because overall as a conference it's one of the best in football. I mean I mean you basically I think other conferences are going to jump on it. I think obviously before the end of the year they're all going to announce like I'd be willing to bet in the next year or two they all gonna be going to 9 games to try and get that extra strength of schedule, or they can all schedule some SEC schools or some tough non-conference schedules. I mean, especially for the schools that don't really have per se like tough conferences or tough opponents, they would definitely benefit from scheduling like tough non-conference games and on their schedule.
If
Caleb,
if
any
I'm
thoughts on that?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, from what I heard today, I think that during their media days or whatever, either this year or last year, that the Big Ten, the Big 12, the ACC all already play non-game conference schedules. The SEC was the last one to do it. The only one that doesn't right now, I think, is the ACC. They would either have to lose a member or gain a member to be able to play a 9 game schedule. The SEC 9 game schedule, so every 4 years, like I think the way they have it, they're going to cycle like every 4 years, you're going to play you're going to play every team in the
But you're gonna
conference.
have three permanent opponents or something.
Yeah, and you have to have three uh um you one of your your non-conference games has to be another Power Four or Notre Dame, and they're gonna have it to where like you're gonna play every, I think it's every 2 years. I mean, obviously every 2 you're gonna play, home and away, and then every 4 years you will eventually cycle through all 16 SEC teams is the way that they have it set up. But I think as of right now, the ACC is the only school that's still at an 8 game conference schedule because of the number of teams that are in the conference.
I actually didn't know that. I thought everybody played eight. I know the Pac-10 played nine back in the day, and that was the only conference I knew of when they were
Yeah.
the Pac-10. But
Well,
Yeah, I think it's
go
was
ahead. I'm sorry.
okay. So I know that the Pac-10 did back do that. I think back in the early 2010s to late
back when
2000s.
USC was really good and all that. I know they were playing
Yeah.
nine conference games.
Um, so with that there, I think it's kind of getting to the point where that separation between Power 4 and G5 is going to end up happening. I think this is just another like hurdle in the step of doing that there. There won't be no, it's going to have a ripple effect for the smaller schools for sure because you lose one of those big money games basically, right? Whenever you take in that non-conference Power 4 opponent to increase your strength of schedule, that's going to hurt these smaller schools that are trying to,
But you got
increase
some of
their
these smaller
budget.
schools though, like Boise State joining the Pac-12 and Houston
Yep.
like joining the Big 12. So they all trying to get like power four status though. Some of these more mid tier schools too.
Well,
Hey, money makes
the
the world
Pac-12,
go round.
yeah, it does. The
Does
Pac-12, the Pac-12 is just a rebadged Mountain West Conference. I mean, if you
Ba-
look at all the teams,
Basically, and plus Texas State.
yeah,
yeah.
I
But
still
that's
to this
it. But
day
that's
don't
all those
understand why
schools
they
still
can't,
trying
but
to get like major power four status though. That's all they're trying to do. They all
yeah,
want to compete. Or they'll just fall in the G5 and make their own national championship, like we talk about all the time.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think it is.
I mean, I think we're at that separation point now because I mean the mid-major conferences, if you want to count like the AAC or the MAC or the those the Sun Belt, those other conferences, like they could play a 15 game conference schedule and their strength of schedule is not gonna equate to what an Ohio State or an LSU or a Clemson or Alabama or Georgia or any one of those P4 teams you want to throw in there, their strength of schedules will never equate to what these P4 conference schedules are.
Yep. All we can do is, I guess, sit and wait and see how it all plays out for sure. But let's get more involved in the game with LSU and Clemson here. LSU's Achilles heel on offense last year was running the football.
Running
Now,
game. Yeah.
yeah, so Durham
Well, dang,
is
that
going
was
to
one of
be
my
the
points I was
star
going to bring up.
of this rushing attack for LSU entering 2025. Caleb, what you think of this new LSU offensive line?
Dude, I'm glad that you brought that up because LSU's offensive line, like from what I've been hearing, they've DJ Chester's already been replaced at guard by whoever the backup was. I think he was a sophomore. The biggest question besides having to replace Will Campbell, who was an All-American and a top 5 NFL draft pick, obviously, is I mean the center position's fantastic. The next biggest question besides who's going to replace Will Campbell is our guards. That inside because uh LSU last year, it's going to be a different look running game. This offensive line is not built to run an I formation, run it, in between the guards, up, onto the side of the tackle or in between the tackles. And the LSU's offense was ranked 107th in the running game last year. I mean, we've got to be able to have a committee of backs, whether it be Caden Durham, you have Caleb Jackson, possibly I can't think of his Trey Holly, possibly, I can't think of the other one's name, but we've got to be able to run the football, and that starts up front with the offensive line. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier can only do so much, but
Throw it
107,
75 times a game.
yeah, 107th in rushing last year is based off of last year's stats. You want to see that them take that leap forward with obviously replacing Will Campbell and then, the weakness at guard against Clemson's, ultra deep stack defensive line. So
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, because you got to have offensive balance to keep that defense
And
off
that
of you.
and the
If you
stout
it,
deep
like
defensive line Clemson has,
yeah,
yeah.
but
you got to
supposedly this is LSU's not necessarily their best receiving core that they've had since Brian Kelly's been there, but it's definitely their fastest receiving core and their deepest that they've ever been at running back.
I,
So
I wouldn't
let
say the best because they had Malik Neighbors and
no,
Brian
I
Thomas
didn't say the best. I said the fastest.
and Jaden Daniels. That was a trio there.
Yeah. And
yeah.
obviously Garrett Nussmeier made some critical mistakes in the season and throughout the season that you want to see him take that step forward.
Yeah,
He's just a
it
gunslinger.
he is a gunslinger.
Look,
But
Chief, I'm
it's
just gonna Chief, go ahead.
go ahead.
Wait, before you go any further, I'm just gonna say, Chief, I'm just gonna go on the record and say you can ask Juicy this. I am notoriously hard on LSU sports
Yes, I think he's harder than me, and I think I'm pretty fair.
because
So
during baseball season last year, when LSU lost to Northwestern State in a midweek game, I stayed tripped out about that for about a month. You can ask Juicy
Yeah, so he's anything that's it's always he's very aggressively hard on them on all their sports.
hey,
so
but
let us
that's a good way
continue.
to be though. That is a good way to be because like you want to like be very critical and but to like going back to Nussmeier and making critical mistakes last year. I mean it is some of his fault,
He
but I
had to
mean
make
you got to
he
have the
had too
offensive
much on
balance.
his
Like I mean
he
like
had
that
too
that
much
no
he had to do too much, which is part of his problem.
yeah I mean that like I mean he had to like extend plays. Everybody drop eight back in the secondary because you can't run the football. There's no point of putting eight in the
He had to
box
do
to
too
stop the
much.
run. Yeah, I mean defensively, I mean they kind of made it easy on people, but to scheme against LSU last season because I mean I just remember that Texas A&M game watching last year, and that was just whew,
Yeah,
The
that
second
second half.
half was pretty bad.
our defense was atrocious against running quarterbacks last year too.
Yeah, and that's an interesting there too. Like, how is the defense going to go up this upcoming
Well, they
season,
got
Juicy?
Weeks and Harold Perkins holding it down at linebacker.
One can only hope.
Yeah, like
I mean,
so
teams.
Juicy, what
I'm
you
gonna
think
get
about
into
this?
that later whenever we do the pick. So
Okay,
Go
I,
ahead, Chief.
so go ahead, Juicy. I was gonna ask you a question. But like defensively, do you think LSU takes that next step? Like if they go up 20 rankings from where they were last year, because I think they were like what 70th or 80th or something like that. If they go up to a top 50 defense. Is
That's
that
all they
enough
would
to get
really
them into
need,
the
honestly.
CFP?
Well, top 50 defense would be good if the offense is more was like if the offense turns out to be more like Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and that kind of offense with those receivers and that what Nussmeyer and some balance to the running game. I don't think they'll need like a top 5 DD defense or something to be. I think just like top 50, top 40 would be all they need to be able to win some games here and uh just
in
score enough points. That's all they got to do, and not give up big plays. I mean,
in the running game's defense, they did have a ton of injuries last year. We were down. Caden Durham was basically our fifth string running back.
That is true. All fair points.
Yeah. That's I mean injuries can, really throw off a team's scheme and stuff
But
whenever you
getting into the defensive thing, like last year, I mean,
The secondary is supposed to be loaded this year too. The
well,
most of the players back from last year.
based off, yeah, we did have a couple of AJ Halsey coming in from Houston. That's definitely gonna help the
LSU has like a
secondary.
6'5" DDB or something. I think that's
Yeah,
him.
AJ Halsey,
yeah.
I think he's supposed to be supposedly the fastest player, like the fastest guy in the secondary too.
Well, he's got long legs. He better be.
I'll just say this. So I'll get into this more later when we pick the game, but at LSU's defense is going to go as Harold Perkins goes. If we're talking about Harold Perkins playing as an All-American caliber player in the middle of, late October, beginning of November, I mean, there's no doubt LSU is going to be a playoff team. If he comes out and he struggles and Blake Baker, the play calling has been, not necessarily bad, but we've been plagued by bad play calling from him and him misusing Harold Perkins, not putting him in the right spot. And then, of course, he got hurt last year. I mean, as Harold Perkins goes and Whit Weeks goes, LSU's defense is going to go. And if they're struggling and if Baker's struggling, Blake Baker's struggling to to utilize their talent in the correct way, then I mean, you got to think our defense struggled last year against a USC team that ended up only winning 6 games,
Mm-hmm.
and they finished their offense finished like I don't know 80, 90 something, 100 something overall in the nation, and so I mean like I said, if Harold Perkins is playing at All American level, late October, early November, middle of November, there's no doubt that this LSU team is going to go far. Could be top 8, top 5 in the college football playoff, but that's all yet to be determined. And because I mean our offense hasn't can't seem to get out of neutral in opening games.
Yeah, that Brian Kelly, I'd think for him
Oh,
because you
absolutely,
lose
absolutely.
all these opening games the last 4 seasons since you
It's
basically
not.
took over.
It's not gonna
Um
cool his seat off any. I can tell you that.
uh that LSU fan base is gonna turn on him if they don't make the CFP this year because he's had a lot of opportunity. Now, granted, I know whenever he first got over there, the transfer portal was kind of in NIL was kind of like this seemed like they do better. They typically get deeper because they know the playbook, they know where they're supposed to be, who they're supposed to man up against. And but whenever me and Juicy were doing our preseason predictions, I gave LSU 3 losses because I didn't know how much of a jump they're actually going to do. I had them losing to Clemson, South Carolina, and Alabama. Juicy had them going 11-1. It's just how much of a jump do they make or do they regress? There's a possibility of them even regressing because of the offensive line. Because Brian Kelly even came out today and said, you know what, I'm not really sold yet on starters, and that does concern me a little bit about this LSU football team.
Absolutely.
It's a top 10 matchup. You better figure it out quick.
Yeah.
Top top 10. It's a top. I thought
Five,
it's
top
Clem,
five. Better figure it out quick.
yeah. I say
Hmm.
Clemson's like number 4, I think.
So
Or
yeah,
4
I mean,
5
like,
somewhere.
it, I mean, you've had all summer to kind of figure this stuff out, and usually in coach speak when they're talking like that, it's not typically a really good sign you want to hear from your head coach. Well, we're gonna go
Well,
kind of play and see what happens out there. It's like,
I
"Ooh, man, I don't know
yeah.
about that one. What's up,
Yeah,
Caleb?
I was gonna say I didn't do any of the preseason, predictions with y'all, but I'm just gonna say that if defense struggles against running quarterbacks like they did last year, you can add Texas A&M as a loss too, because Marcellus Reed just absolutely torched us last year.
I don't think he's
All
A&M
right.
starter this year.
Yes, he is.
Oh,
Yep.
He
All
is
right.
he is
Let's
A&M
get down
starter.
to let's get down and do some picks here. We're gonna
Yes,
do a
sir.
straight
I'm
pick here.
ready.
There's nothing any I mean, we kind of talked enough about it here. So let's go Thursday night, number 25, Boise State taking on South Florida. Juicy, who you got in that game?
Oh, I got Boise State.
What you thinking, Caleb?
Boise State should win this game easily, even with or without Ashton Genty.
I know Boise State's the only G5 school to get ranked in the preseason poll. Give me Boise State to win. I think they kind of just gave that to them, honestly, but we'll see how it goes. I don't really care for preseason rankings anyway, but that's a whole nother topic for
Yeah.
another day.
Yes,
Western
sir.
Illinois taking on number 12 Illinois. Yeah, Western Illinois taking on number 12 Illinois. Juicy, who you got?
Illinois.
What you
The
think,
definitely
Caleb?
definitely the fighting Bielmas. They should easily win that one.
Give me Illinois to beat Western Illinois. It should not be that difficult here. All right, this is probably the biggest game on Saturday. They're kicking it off at noon. Uh,
Listen, Ohio
number one
State.
Texas taking on number three Ohio State. Juicy, who you got in that game?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with the Longhorns, man. I just think they're better, much better, deeper, experienced team. Uh, because man, you don't know what you're gonna get with Ohio State, but right now, I got Texas. I'm more confident in
Caleb?
Not so fast. In the
that.
words the words of Lee Corso, who's retiring after this week.
Yeah,
Let's see. Ohio State's got the best player and potentially, for sure, the best receiver or best player in college football, in Jeremiah Smith, going up against a Texas team that has to replace four starters on the offensive line, and Arch Manning in his two or three games last year looked good, but his first full year as a starter, like all that pressure of being ranked number one, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time ever Texas has been ranked number one in the preseason
true.
That's true.
polls.
That is true.
And then they're playing on the road in Columbus. So I'm gonna say Ohio State wins this game, but it's I think the spread is 4.5, but I'm gonna give it probably 3 points.
Man, I
Fair.
always give 7 points to the home team. I think playing at home is a huge factor in college football. Ohio State did lose a lot of players from last year's national championship team, and this is Arch Manning's first, like being first guy, Tom being the guy. Played very well whenever he did fill in last year, when Gwen Ewers was there, but it's a lot to ask of him. It really is. I'm
It
gonna go with
is.
Ohio State. I just think it's too much for Texas to go on the road and beat them in this early in the season, especially being the first game. Give me Ohio State.
Okay.
Sy- Syracuse taking on number 24, Tennessee. Who you got, Juicy?
Oh, I got the Volunteers.
What you thinking, Caleb?
I'm thinking Tennessee at home. No Nico Ukulele or whatever his name is. EMI or I don't know how you say his last name, but um, I don't think this game is gonna be as much of a blowout as everybody thinks it is. I'm gonna say Syracuse might be able to keep it within 14. It's 14 to 17. So give me
It's the first
Tennessee.
week of college football. They might.
Give me give me
There's gonna be
Tennessee, but not as close as what people think it is.
there's always in the beginning parts of this season, there's
There's always a
two top
while
10 teams. There's two top 10 teams that always lose.
week one.
Tennessee's going to win this one against Syracuse. But I like Caleb's prediction of 14 points, but I'm going to go 17. I think they pull away late. Old Dominion versus number 20, Indiana. Juicy, who you got?
I got the Hoosiers. Not even gonna be close.
Caleb, who you got?
Give me the fighting Signellis. It's not going to be that close.
So
It's not
Old
going to be.
Dominion,
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Old Dominion has a pretty decent defense in the Sun Belt whenever I watched them play. But Indiana's got too much to be contained. I got Indiana winning that game over
Yeah,
Old
and
Dominion.
Indiana runs a very fast-paced offense too. So
South Dakota taking on number 22 Iowa State. Juicy, who you got in that one?
I got Iowa State.
What you thinking, Caleb?
Iowa State, because I definitely Iowa State. It's not even going to be close.
I got Iowa State winning it as well. I think they got it. Nevada taking on number two Penn State. Juicy, who you got?
Oh, I got Penn State, man. Come on.
What you thinking, Caleb?
Got Penn State, easy.
Yeah, Penn State should handle this one. Marshall taking on number five Georgia. Juicy, who you got?
Oh my God, I got Georgia, bro. Go Uga.
What you thinking, Caleb?
Oh, definitely Georgia. Poor Marshall. They lost
So
everything last year.
yeah,
It's going to be
Southern
a
Miss
long
is the
season
new
for them.
Southern Miss is the new Marshall for this upcoming season. Marshall, they're probably going to struggle this year, I would think. Um, I got Georgia winning this one. Number eight, Alabama versus Florida State. Juicy, what you
Ooh.
thinking?
College game day is going there. I know that for Lee Corso's final hurrah in Tallahassee. I know that's where he played. But honestly, I'm gonna give it. I know I'm not a fan of Alabama, but obviously I'm gonna give it to Alabama. I don't see Florida State being able to pull that one.
What you thinking, Caleb?
So something interesting to run by y'all, fellas. So DeBoer, Kalen DeBoer loves tall wide receivers. His wide receiver room averages 6'5". Um, but we also have question marks at running back at quarterback with Ty Simpson. We don't know what he's gonna do, but I just think that
Still think Alabama's gonna
I think
win.
Alabama's more talented, overall. I'm going to take Alabama, but I think it's going to be by 10.
Yeah, it could be closer. I think though.
Uh, I think Florida State still has to rebuild more before they can take down Alabama. But
Yeah. Yeah. Mike
I mean,
Norvell's.
like he's got to work it. But I got Alabama beating Florida State, but we'll see how it goes here. I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out which one of these top 10 teams are not going to be what they're the frauds, basically.
Yeah, you like to try to
But
figure out the frauds.
Yeah, Montana State versus number seven Oregon. Who you got, Juicy?
Oh, I got the Ducks.
What you thinking, Caleb?
I got the Ducks also, and I think that's your fraud right there.
Oregon, I
You
don't
know,
believe that they're gonna be a fraud in week
I,
one.
you know
Not
what?
in week one. I'm talking
I,
about in the season overall.
I think in September somewhere you might see Oregon stumble or lose a game they might not be
It
supposed
ain't
to
gonna be
lose.
Montana
I think,
State though.
I think, I think they're gonna beat Montana State, but just watch that
Yeah,
Oregon team over the next
very
month. I,
handily.
I had a stinking suspicion about them. Illinois State taking on number 18 Oklahoma. Oklahoma is supposed to be rapidly improved this year, Juicy. What you think about this
I,
matchup?
I'm not buying Oklahoma being rapidly improved. If I'm being honest with you. All I'm gonna say, if we talk about this week, I think Oklahoma's gonna win, but I think Oklahoma's a fraud throughout later on in the year. But I think they got this week.
What you thinking, Caleb?
Oklahoma definitely wins this week, but I don't know. John Mateers is on the preseason Heisman list, so he's supposed to be the real deal.
You know how we feel about preseason, though. That don't mean
Yes,
nothing.
I know. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm hearing John Mateer is supposed to be the real deal.
I got Oklahoma winning that one. We'll see how it goes once we get through the season here. UTSA taking on number 19 Texas A&M. I got A&M winning this one. What you thinking, Juicy?
I got A&M as well.
What you thinking,
Yeah,
Caleb?
definitely A&M in this one, but that I think they're another fraud too, unless Marcellus Reed, as Reed goes, that team's gonna go.
North Dakota taking on number 17 Kansas State. I think Kansas State wins this one. What you thinking, Juicy?
I think Kansas State wins too, but I think that's another fraud team that we'll figure out later on in the year.
Everybody's a fraud according to Juicy. What you thinking, Caleb?
Oh, definitely K State should win this one, and that's my dark horse team for the Big 12 too.
Really? That's a
Oh,
shock.
LIU taking on number 15 Florida. Give me the Napier Gators. What you thinking, Juicy?
What? Florida's ranked number 15? I didn't know Florida. I forgot Florida was ranked that high. I'm gonna go with the Gators though. Yeah, I got the Gators.
Yeah, give me the Fighting Napiers.
New Mexico taking on number 14 Michigan. I got Michigan winning this one. What you thinking, Juicy?
I got the Wolverines.
What you thinking, Caleb?
Definitely Michigan this week, but keep an eye on him because Bryce Underwood got named as the starter today.
He is, yep, former LSU recruit, I think.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Flipped at the last minute because of Dave
NIL. Speaking of
because of
NIL
NIL,
money.
yeah.
yeah, Barstool Sports money.
Number 9 LSU taking on number 4 Clemson. Who you thinking,
Uh-oh.
Juicy?
Well, we did all the debates and talking about what to improve, what the strengths are. I'm gonna stick with what I know best until I think I picked LSU a few weeks ago, but I think I'm a backtrack on that. I'm thinking tradition continues until Brian Kelly proves me wrong. I think Clemson's gonna take this game. It's just how I
All right.
feel.
Caleb, what you thinking?
Well, like Juicy said, we had a discussion about it, and based off of past history with how week one games go with Brian Kelly and the defense, I'm gonna pick Clemson as well. But
Prove
I
me wrong, Brian Kelly. Prove me
please,
wrong.
yes, by all means, Fishbowl Nation. Not that we don't like LSU, but
Prove
off
me
of based
wrong,
off
LSU.
based off of past history, I'm until we like Juicy said, until we see it on the field, I'm picking Clemson, and I think it's going to be a at least
I
probably
do think
probably
it'll be close. Most of his
a 7 to
games
10
are
point
close,
game.
so
I think here I'm gonna stick with my prediction that I made in the preseason when we covered LSU here. And the comments about the offensive line have me concerned here for sure with Clemson's stout defensive line that they have. I think Clemson's gonna win the battle up front. Don't think Nussmeier's gonna have much time to throw the ball back there. If they especially if they can't get the running game going for LSU. Prove me wrong, Brian Kelly. I got
but then
Clemson
again,
beating
the offensive
LSU.
line might surprise us. You never know. They could be
That's the trick question that we're gonna have to wait and find out to
Yeah,
you never
see.
know in football. They could all be all
Yep.
Americans or something. You just never know.
but having to replace Will Campbell
Arkansas
and
Pine Bluff taking on number
Oh, we have
23
another
Texas
one.
Tech. Who you got, Juicy?
Texas
We
Tech
got four more.
is ranked. Texas Tech is ranked. I
yeah,
got
I'm
Hey, they
Texas
got
about
a lot of
Tech.
NIL money.
I got
yeah,
Texas Tech, but
I'm
that's
about
a
to tell you
surprise.
too. Well, Texas Tech is another dark horse team to watch out for because if y'all aren't aware, yes, he said NIL money, but there's I forgot what the guy's name is, but he just sold a company, Double Eagle Energy 4 to Diamondback for 5.1 billion transaction. So that's where they're getting all their NIL money from, is from this former alum. But depth, so that's but Texas Tech and Kansas State is my two dark horses for the Big 12. You heard it here first.
I got Texas Tech winning that one. Georgia State taking on Ole
Yeah,
Miss. We're gonna do a rapid reaction. I got Ole Miss winning.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Caleb, SMU, East Texas A&M. I got SMU.
Who you got, Juicy?
I got SMU.
The Mustangs, SMU.
I got SMU winning this one as well. And the last game to wrap up this top 25 matchup for this week. Northern Arizona taking on number 11, Arizona State. I got Arizona State. Juicy, who you got?
Wow, Arizona State ranked. I got Arizona State. I almost said Arizona. Arizona State.
Yeah, I got Arizona State as well, but that team might be a fraud also. We'll find out.
Actually, I lied to y'all. We got two more games because they got games on Sunday that I completely forgot about. It's week.
Oh,
Wow.
You'll have to give me a break. Virginia Tech taking
No, you're good.
number Virginia Tech taking on number 13 South Carolina. I got South Carolina winning that one. What you think of Juicy?
I got the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I got South Carolina as well.
And we got a top 10 matchup. Number 6, Notre Dame taking on number 10, Miami Hurricanes. Back
Oh, there we go.
quarterback. So, what you thinking, Juicy?
Oh man, that one caught me off guard. I forgot all about that game. Give me Miami. I'm gonna go with the Hurricanes.
What you thinking, Caleb?
I'm going to take Notre Dame in this one, actually.
Man, it's like I know there's one. I know there's two top 10 teams that are frauds. It could be either one of them.
Notre Dame might be one. Yeah, either
Notre,
one of these two.
I know Notre Dame made it to the runner-up for the national championship last season. Um, I'm gonna go with the Hurricanes because I think what they did with Cam Ward. Cam Ward wasn't even like a rated prospect. I think he had 0 stars if I remember right.
Well, if you remember, Cam Ward played at
Yeah, but
Houston before he went to Miami, though.
yeah,
and incarnate word too.
yeah. Uh, I think
But Carson Beck is not Cam Ward.
yeah,
That's true. They got Carson Beck down there now with
yeah. I'm gonna go with